Hi there, how are you today? Today's video is about why late night eating is bad for you, and I have some scientific evidence around that I want to share with you today. So, I am Kelsie Michaud, and I help people to just gain control of emotional eating so that they can feel really healthy and confident as they're making peace with food in their body. I am available for complimentary consultations as well, so that's where we just jump on the phone for about 30 minutes, and we can dive really deep into your own health and weight goals, and then I can show you how I can take you from where you are now to where you'd like to go. So if you'd like to jump into one of those spots with me this week, I have 3 spots left available at the moment. Hi Lilith, how are you? Thanks for coming on. So we're going to be talking about why late night eating is so bad for us, and I have a bunch of scientific evidence around that about why and what's actually happening. So, hi Kim, how are you? So, you may or may not want to admit, but chances are that at some point you may have found yourself in the kitchen late at night, just devouring something either sweet or salty or both, and you may not have even been hungry. So scientists are actually getting closer to understanding why people indulge later in the day or at night, and they're actually able to determine whether those nighttime calories, whether they will actually cause us more trouble or not, and also if the risk of weight gain and chronic diseases, like diabetes, if they'll actually be higher compared to the calories that are eaten earlier on in the day. So for years, it's always been said that, a calorie is a calorie no matter when you consume it. But they're not quite sure now, that they can say that anymore because there's all this new evidence and new research that they've been doing. So the timing of your meal may potentially have an impact on you. So most of the major studies on late night eating have been conducted either with animals, also like night shift workers, and people who actually have a disorder, which is actually called night eating syndrome. And 25% of their daily calories are actually consumed after dinner. So this is what the studies have shown, is that the people or animals tend to show that when food is consumed late at night, anywhere from after dinner to, outside of your typical sleep-wake cycle, the body's actually more likely to store those calories as fat, and then you end up gaining weight rather than burning it as energy. So there's actually 2 recent studies that have been done on the potential impact of this timing. And there was a study of 420 overweight people, and this was actually published in 2013. And those who ate, so not too early, not too recent, but fairly recent, those that ate their major meal after 3 p.m., then they lost less weight during a 20-week weight loss program than those who actually ate their main meal before 3 p.m. So, even the amount of their food that they ate was the same, and their sleep and exercise was the same as well. So this was actually the first study that showed that eating later in the day actually makes people lose less weight, and because they also lose it slower too. And even when the amount again was the same for people, whether they whatever they were eating and their sleep and their exercise, all of that was the same. So just by changing the timing of when you're doing all of that, eating, sleeping, exercise, all that's the same, but changing the timing of your eating from earlier on in the day to later on made a significant impact. So there was actually a small study also done. It was a study of healthy women, and it was actually published this year, and it showed that when participants ate actually after 4:30 p.m., they burned fewer calories while resting, through their rest and digest. They burned fewer calories, and then they did when they ate, say, by 1 p.m. So even though the calories consumed and the level of activity was still the same. So that timing is making a significant impact here. So what's even more is that when the participants ate late, they couldn't metabolize or burn off their carbohydrates as well as if they ate them earlier on. So they also had decreased levels of like glucose tolerance, which can lead to diabetes. And this study did not track whether the women gained or lost weight, though. That's the only difference in that study. But, I'm sure you've heard, eat breakfast like a king. What is it? Lunch like a pauper. I'm sorry, lunch. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm getting it mixed up. Eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and then dinner like a pauper. So, adults in the U.S., we actually consume 70% of our calories, like of our daily calories, at breakfast. That's 70% at breakfast, 24% at lunch, and then 34% at dinner. So we're definitely not following that little gimmick there. And, why do we do that? Well, it's actually possible that it could be, the pace of our work life. We're always, on the go and always so busy, which leaves us room for, little more than just a quick breakfast or a lunch, in the typical weekday. Hi, Billy. How are you? Thanks for coming on. So it is possible, like I said, it could be how busy you are, but our circadian rhythms, which is our internal body clock, it actually regulates our sleep and all of our other cycles, and that's based on just light and darkness. So like the setting of the sun and the rising and setting of the sun, and this can also be a major factor too. So there's actually a small study that was published in 2013 again, where a group of non-obese adults stayed in a low lit area, so not a ton of light, and they stayed in this area for 13 days. And they got plenty of sleep, and they had absolutely identical meals, and they were eaten at even intervals throughout this 24-hour period. And despite all of that regularity, they still reported being substantially hungrier at 8 p.m. than they were, compared to being at 8 a.m. So they also had more cravings for sweet and salty and starchy type foods in the evening. So they're thinking, hi, Allie, how are you? So they're thinking that, evolution may be at work here, maybe playing, hi, Jenny, how are you? Thanks for coming on. So evolution might be at play here, because if you think about our ancestors, when food was scarce, one of the most efficient things to do in the evening was to eat. That's when the body can store extra energy as fat and glycogen as well, so that they're ready for, whatever might happen the next day. And, all hormones may be causing that later day snacking. There's cortisol, there's adrenaline, and then these two follow that natural circadian rhythm. So they will drop down by 3 p.m. When 3 p.m. rolls around, that means that our energy levels drop down too. So because our body is preparing for the end of the day, and that's okay if you're shutting down too, if you're getting ready to shut down, and say you're planning for a 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. dinner, and then go to bed shortly after that. But that drop in energy is not good if you're still working or having to rush around, or say you have a meeting later in the day or something like that, or you're just not ready for dinner, at 5 o'clock at that point. Hi, Nan. Let's see. Lilith says, I'm doing good. Keto, OMAD, but around 8 or 9, I feel starving. Oh, yes. And that's happening with a lot of people. It's a huge thing, which is why I wanted to talk about it. And, there's so many other things there's the high sugar foods, the high fat foods that you're reaching for. Those actually only increase your appetite. So, and it's possibly setting that scene for you for a late night bender, because what you're really doing is creating more of a mess for yourself. Because if you eat junk, that's going to jack up your insulin levels, and that's going to drive you to want to eat more. And it's usually sugar that we're craving at that point when our insulin level goes up. But, not all late night eaters or late night eating is bad. Some researchers are actually exploring whether there's an upside like to a small late night snack. But there is some good news to all of this. And, there are actually a number of recent studies that have shown that consuming a 150 calorie, like a protein shake before bed, like 30 minutes before bed, it may actually help with muscle growth and actually help suppress your morning appetite. And it can boost your metabolism from what they're saying too, and help you to actually recover from your workouts if you're exercising regularly. And in one study, 44 healthy young men who had a protein shake before bed, they actually gained strength and muscle mass from a 3-month resistance training, working out with the weights, than those who did not. So let's see, Lilith. I do little snacks, no sugar for me. Oh, that's definitely a good thing. And I've not cheated on keto yet. Well, good for you. That's awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. That can be hard to do. I hear, actually just today I was scrolling through Facebook a little bit and I heard somebody ask about keto and ask if they've cheated yet on it while they're there, or if they are having a cheat and still managing to reach their goals. So it's like that temptation is always there. But if we're feeding our bodies the right things, the right nutrients, it's not going to be craving all the stuff that we shouldn't be having. Let's see, Allie says, is it true that you will gain weight if you eat a big meal before bed? I think you came on just after I was talking about, but yes, the timing of your meal will make a difference from what these studies are saying. So say if you're somebody who ate, within these studies, they're actually saying if you ate before 3 p.m., and then there's people who actually eat after 3 p.m., but they ate the same exact identical meals. They had the same amount of sleep and the same amount of exercise. Everything was the same except for the timing of when they ate. So some ate before 3, some ate after 3. And the ones who ate after 3 actually gained more weight, they were showing. So yeah, the timing of our meal, because then if you think about it, if you eat earlier on in the day, you're still moving around, you're busy, you're doing things, your metabolism is still working good for you. Your body's going to burn most of that off. But if you're eating it, later on in the day, then your body's starting to shut down and your metabolism isn't as high after that 3 p.m. time. So that's why it's better to eat, like that saying I just said, if I can remember it again, eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and then dinner like a pauper. But for some reason, as Americans, we don't do that. And if you want to reach your goals and reach your weight loss, then that's something maybe that you could try. You could switch because a lot of us eat bigger dinners here in America. It's just something that we do, and maybe we can try to switch that depending on what your goals are. So Lilith, that's so funny because everyone says don't eat past 6 p.m. Yes. And it's true, because your food's going to just sit there on your stomach, and then it's going to try to digest, which I'm going to get into in a moment. But sleep is the only time that you've got when you're not doing other things, right? So that the other things that actually require your energy, I should say. Hi Dan, how are you? So when you totally shut down almost every other action, then, other than staying alive, of course, your body is going into recovery mode. So this is when you're sleeping. So you're shutting everything else down. You're not doing anything else but sleeping. So then there's that cell turnover, and your immune function will actually get better while you're sleeping, and the repairing and regenerating of your cells and of any sore, damaged muscle tissue happens during this time. All while you're sleeping. That's why sleep is so important. I'm sure you always hear, get a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Well, there's a reason for it. Not just so you don't feel tired in the morning. There's a lot going on. Your body's still working at night while you're sleeping. So all of this is happening at night. And if we're eating too late or too close to bed, then our body it's not going to be able to detox and repair like it needs to. it's going to be digesting instead, because what happens is when you go to sleep at night, say you want to stop eating by like at least by 7 p.m., be done, and then to bed by like 10 p.m. This is just as an example. And then it's going to give your body needs a full 12 hours to detox. So then while you're sleeping, your body's going to be detoxing throughout the night for you. Well, if you ate a little bit later, closer to the time that you're going to bed, then your body needs to digest. Your body will not do both. It will not digest and detox at the same time. It will choose one or the other. And because you just ate, it's going to choose digestion. So then your body's not going to be able to get that full detox that it needs throughout the night. And then that's where sometimes, I don't know if you've ever noticed, that maybe you woke up feeling kind of sluggish and still tired and just not feeling so good. Well, or even feeling hungrier that next day too. That's because you didn't give your body a chance to fully detox. So that could be a reason. I mean, that's just what happens, at nighttime. That's another reason we say don't eat so close to bedtime, other than if you're looking to lose some weight and, get to your weight loss goals or even maintain, and you don't want to be gaining weight. This is what's happening to your body at night. It's the way it works. We are a machine, and it's a matter of, doing what this machine wants and treating it good, because if we don't, then it's not going to work. If we don't treat it good, it's not going to work good for us. So those are my tips for today, or my information, or that's what I have to help you with today. So think about what your goals are, and think about if there's something that you can switch up or change, maybe, the timing of your meals, especially at nighttime too. If you're feeling tired in the morning or hungry, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to crave the next day as well. So sleep plays a huge factor in our weight loss goals. So I hope that was really helpful for you guys. And if anything, let me know what resonated with you. Leave it in the comments. And if you have any questions too, of course, pop them in the comments. And if you think this would be helpful for someone else, feel free to share the video. And if there's no other questions right now, I'm going to hop off and continue the rest of my busy day. But I hope you all have a very beautiful day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.